Hello, Culture Matters podcast. Here's a quote just for this episode. The tyrant dies, his rule is over. The martyr dies, and his rule begins. Soren Kierkegaard. I'm joined today by a friend of the Culture Matters podcast to honor someone very important to us on the Culture Matters podcast in the world. So many of our guests, people that have yet to be on the show that will be, been touched by who we're going to talk to today. We're dedicating this tribute to. If you haven't listened to episodes 115 on the Culture Matters podcast, episode 146, 175, 275, 371, 558, Kevin DeLory, our friend, Chief Lending Officer, EPM, mentor, advisor, very special leader. I'm joined today by Andrew Berman. And Andrew, thanks for taking the time to talk about Kevin. I know that you knew him for many years and even a part of your magazines and life and how special he was to you and so many people. But I wanted to have you on to talk about Kevin. So thanks for making the time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be able to kind of spend a little bit of time talking about the legacy that he left. Um, there are people that'll live their lifetimes and they could live 5 times the amount of that life and they won't have even a fraction of the impact that Kevin seemed to have. You know, um,
Are they just
so
so bad, or was he just so great?
Yes, I think it's both. I think it's both. This is a guy actually he was just nonstop, man. He always, and not in like something about Kevin when you were in the room with him. I felt like, he was on. Like he was on. Like it was like the Kevin show, but not in like I'm trying to be something I'm not. He's like, I'm trying to be everything that I am.
Wow.
And his presence was just there. It's he always was one of the best dressed people in the room. And for some reason it just didn't seem like he was doing it to be flashy or anything like that. He was I think um he viewed his success well earned and viewed it you know if, so I hate using this word. You keep back to that, like you've conditioned me to like to be careful of the word pride and be proud and some other
Yeah, but that
readings.
Jay was a fool.
Well, but then I've read, of course, for our last episode that we did, or 2 episodes ago, we talk about pride, can be a weakness, but something about Kevin, like he wasn't like pride in like an egotistical kind of way,
Mm.
and it just felt like actually, if you you see, he talks about a lot of actually the people around him that make him who he is. And this is like, this is not someone, and I don't know his history before, like, before he like became so I think he was going to be a history teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I don't know actually if before that if he had sales and then just kind of like wound up being a history teacher. I think his if I'm not mistaken his wife was she was a teacher. Um
Yeah.
so like I don't know actually where this where this passion for helping people and being dedicated where that came from.
What
Um
makes you say dedicated?
Dedicated. I mean, listen, you can't operate at the levels that he's operated at the companies that he's operated from, just if you look at his history, even going back to the subprime days, he worked at the best brands. He worked at the top companies, Option One, New Century. These are companies that like they don't hire schleprocks. I mean, you really got to kick some ass for you to be to work at those companies, and so you see actually, and obviously you can't forget about the time that he led the team over at Carrington, and then under his guidance, EPM basically said, something, fuck retail. We're going double down on wholesale. And when I understand, actually, there's been some pretty good success, in that move, in that move. And listen, just like it's so weird. It's so weird to see this man. There's like so if you look at National Mortgage Professional Magazine in the daily, like the same actually the same daily issue we're talking about actually remembering him is also the announcement about actually one of their new divisions, one of EPM's new divisions, where he's being quoted. This is it's
Wow.
just it's so
Wow.
it's so emotional to see that and see a guy that just had such an impact on so many people and you know yeah
Yeah, what
that's
were you thinking when you saw that?
I mean that's just uh, like just not shocked. It's like that means that he probably been was working his ass off until the end, until the fucking very bitter end. He was working his ass off. That's I listen. I haven't really I haven't I can't say that I talked to him in any time recently, but you just I mean made evident by the fact actually that he's being quoted in an article like just inches away from the article that's talking about his passing.
Do you remember the first time you met him?
Uh, no, but I remember the first time that I was aware of meeting him. And what I mean by that is like I remember like the first time that like I kind of like I was aware of his presence because he remembered me from time meeting him before.
Wow.
And I guess that's kind of like and I almost like that impressed me. Like like how does he remember me? Like this is a guy actually that clearly is super successful, meets so many people, and he was very tuned into who I am, and yeah, felt a little guilty almost. Like wow, but yeah, like but I just remember that moment at the New York Association of Mortgage Brokers, like their annual conference. That's when I first like became aware of the power of Kevin DeLory.
How did it make you feel when he remembered you?
Oh, important, just like hey, you know, here's a guy actually that there I've interviewed a lot of people, and a lot of people just come and remember me. Sometimes they don't remember, but um, you know, and it's usually the kind of person that has as much flair as he does is usually the kind of person that doesn't necessarily remember the people around them as much. And, that's just my,
Mm.
uh, it's not just about the, like you know, the quality of his wear, but he wore flair, you know. It was pretty, yeah, with the coolest glasses always. Even had a tailored mask, like his during COVID. He had the tailored face mask because his whoever did his suits, tailored him his face mask.
What is yeah, what can we learn from that?
uh to be proud of what you've created, to
Amen.
and not in an egotistical way, being grateful for those that have helped you, build what you've had, and making sure you recognize those people around you that have helped you create, what you've created, I guess.
I want to highlight what you just said. I think it's such a powerful something he taught me in his behavior, in his spirit. Because you mentioned, um, there's another side of pride. We've talked about other shows. Eventually, it could come from the like that wrong place. It's like but what about when she said to be proud of what you created, about the people. What happens when our leaders don't have enough pride to protect us? Right. The walled garden breaks and now the snakes are coming in. It's like, what if the part of the value of pride, if it's real, if it comes from something real, something authentic, something genuine, rooted in generosity and competence and love, it's like it protects the culture. And and maybe I think I learned that from Kevin, how to balance that, pride.
That's a very delicate
The leader has to
balance.
protect the culture. I'm thinking about rule 4 and beyond order. Notice that opportunity lurks where responsibility has been abdicated. And Peterson used that example of Osiris, who stops paying attention. Was he proud? He stopped paying attention, and the bad guys came. He wasn't proud anymore. Maybe he wasn't paying attention. He wasn't protecting the culture. You know, being proud of what you've actually accomplished, the people you've really built up, the people who are in better places. Like you have an army and your generals are well fed and they've got booty and their families are taken care of. You can be proud that you rose up from nothing or the ashes. When I think of Kevin's culture, I think of, all these long-term relationships, years and years, people working together, decades, these amazing men. They're like Alexander the Great's generals. I mean, it was like Cleopatra's great, 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 great something grandfather that started Alexandria. He was he was a one of the bodyguards of Alexander the Great, Ptolemy.
Hmm.
Like that's what I think about when I think of Kevin's pride
Yeah,
that you're talking about.
yeah. So,
Like
I,
I'm
I,
proud to call him a friend, right?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's like what an honor. It's an honor to know somebody that laid it all on the line, to pay
You're saying you're
attention.
proud of him?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So much.
yeah.
You're saying, oh, dude, he had to be going all in to the last moment.
I know.
How could you not be proud of somebody that protects the culture
Yeah. It's that,
if
was
they
willing
earned
to
it?
do anything. Yeah, it's, listen, most people, you would have thrown in the towel, but he thrived on this. He thrived on building and growing. And yeah.
He lived by love, honor, and respect. What do you there when you hear that, what comes to mind? What about Kevin, in your view, was represented love?
Well, I mean, obviously, listen, it's like, I think it's everything. It's obviously the obviously his daughter Brooklyn, but like, it's it's his work. Um the mortgage broker, his struggle, his struggle to fight cancer. you know it's like I think he loved it. I think he loved it, like he like embraced it because it was going to just make him stronger, and I don't know, man. It's moments like these that I'm just like, well, I hope it did, and I hope there is a fucking afterlife, because that's a man that deserves to live a great afterlife. You know, the realist me, I don't know, but if there's a guy that deserves to have a good afterlife, it's that motherfucker.
Yeah, I like to think that there's a holy war somewhere, and God needed reinforcements. And Kevin's like fucking Ultron. He's like 200 feet tall. They're like fucking, crushing mother.
Holy shit!
He's got
Yep.
a hammer. Fucking, he's swinging the hammer, and he's
Yeah.
just hitting these like demon mother. Anybody that plays any too many video games, we're out of holy paladins. Beam him up, Scotty. And we're all
Shit.
upset because we don't get him right. But there's something so much bigger than this. It's a thought
Yes.
experiment. And I like to think that's beyond time and space. So it's not like he's waiting around for us 100 years. By the time we get there, he's been there the same time.
But at least he's
Brad
going to show us around.
elucidated. Yeah. Well, yeah.
He's setting it up for us. He's,
What about honor?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to explain, his role for honor, because I feel like love and honor, um I don't know, it's almost like they're interchangeable for him. Like the way he honors something is he takes care of it, and he loves for the things actually that mean the most to him. So it's like love and honor are interchangeable, which also, like, it's like respect, love, honor. you know you know it's like these are the same thing. Like I'm like, if you were Roman Catholic, Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, these are all the same thing. It means the same thing. Love, honor, and respect. Like, it's all one. It's all one. You love something, so you honor it, and you show it the proper respect because you love it so much, and you honor it. And when you have that trifecta, that's when the pride is strong. That's when, like, your pride, of what you've done, of what you've created. Um, I think
Andrew, did
that's.
you take like a master class eulogy course or something? Man,
I
it's
literally,
like you've
I
been.
No, you want to know the fact is, I had difficulty checking into my hotel room, and I'm like, I had like a meeting that ran way too long. I was planning on like I had like three podcasts I was planning on listening to, and I'm like, and I didn't get a chance to anything. I'm like, and I got into the room like, okay, what do you remember about him? Remember, he's a history teacher. I remember his daughter is Brooklyn, and I remember something about actually, old men that he like were like kind of his mentors when he was going through some hard times. And I was and I said, okay, I wrote that down, and I said, you're going to listen to everything about him. So yeah, I thank you for that. I appreciate that, but this is just from the heart.
What do you think, have the relationship you had with Kevin, what do you, and the interactions over the years, what do you think it was about him that part of how he had such a has had such a strong team for so long, like long tenures, strong partnerships?
I mean, he's just a guy that you just will go into battle for. It's just, he's a guy that will have your back. Um, that's I've had some, I had some some dealings with him actually, in the past, and he called me to step to a plate a couple of times, and kind of prove my worth, and like there that it was literally, I remember one of the things that we did with him at Carrington kind of changed like how we kind of sold some things, like how we
Wow.
kind of showed, yeah, we just basically, it was like, I started listening to my clients more. I started like, like saying, okay, listen, he's saying this is what he needs to hear, that he wants to see from us. We need to deliver exactly that,
Wow.
if we're gonna want to win clients like that. So
He was honest with you.
yeah, yeah. He was honest with us. We were doing some work on webinars with him. And he said, if you got to do this, 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 and this, and if you do that, we'll do business with you. If we can perform well, we'll do more business with you.
Versus just appease you or not. It sounds like he was explaining maybe potential even flaws in your system at the time,
Yeah, yeah. And because people will just say,
like
"Oh, we like
helpful
it."
advice.
Yeah, yeah. Like not like, because especially at the time, we were more like, just kind of media salespeople rather than kind of like, like advisors or consultants, where we have a product, you want to buy it, here are the features why it's really good. No, okay, well, we also have these other things. Rather than, listening to saying, hey, listen, we would buy that if you could do this. And if we buy this, and you hit these KPIs, we're going to do a lot more business with you.
What would you I don't know if what do you what would you want Brooklyn to know? You're a father,
Yeah, I mean, like
daughters.
that yeah, you know that there's a bunch of grown men who are successful on Zoom crying over their dad, like for potentially hundreds, if not thousands, of other people to see. And that's how much actually we care about Kevin. That's how much of an impact, he's had. That's I have a feeling she knows how wonderful of a man, he is. Like just, I mean, obviously, other than their pictures and hearing him talk about her, I don't know about their relationship, but I got a strong feeling that she knows. Like that she gets that same love, honor, and respect that everyone gets, whether you're one of his account executives or one of his offsprings. You're getting that, just probably a lot more because you're his offspring.
On that account executive piece, what would you say, made him different or stood out to you as an account executive, a leader to brokers and to account executive? Yeah, that's kind of an opaque
Yeah,
world, but you have a lot about brokers and all that. You've interviewed so many and interacted with so many. Like, what would you say stood out?
I mean, I can't speak with other than speculation on what it was like to work as an account executive, you know, with him, but I can, he was just consistent. So like I have to assume that love, honor, and respect um carried through from his top account executive to his shittiest account executive. And he would do whatever he possibly can for the lowest producing account executive as well as the top producing account executive to help them just find their greatness.
Hmm.
Knowing that because I know he's seen some real dark times. I believe the death of both of his brothers, right? I
I
mean,
think definitely one for sure.
yeah, yeah. But he's not having an easy childhood from what I'm remembering. I feel like actually like there was definitely some trouble to overcome.
Hmm. Yeah, what can we learn from Kevin and how can we channel his spirit with the remainder of the year that we have? And, for those that are listening, we're 27% of the way through 2025. What would he tell us?
I'm seeing his mannerisms. I'm trying to hear his words, but I'm seeing him in his suit. Like it's like uh I mean, obviously, we know he had an unbelievable passion for the mortgage broker, and I think he sees actually, the immense value that the mortgage broker has. I'm trying to find something, more spiritual or more guiding than just hey, like it's be proud to be serving, homeowners as mortgage brokers. So I don't have a solid answer besides, just do everything you can with the love, honor, and respect. And just kind of, no matter what's going on, no matter how bad it is, no, you're going to get through it. This, of course, God has some bigger, grander plans for you as you shared before, but you're going to get through it, and you need to be the rock for your team, for your family, for your community, and kick some ass and wear nice suits.
If you're listening to this episode, go check out episode 558, 371, 275, 175, 146, and 115 of the Culture Matters podcast, all very different takes on who Kevin DeLory was as a human being, as somebody that made a difference in our lives. Andrew, thanks for making time to do this. It means so much.
Thank you.
Please share this with someone you love that matters to you. Leave us a review on the Culture Matters podcast. We will see you next time.